Next question. Pardon me, my throat is a little tick is there in that. Now, you were mentioning about the default value for the hyperparameters. Like you showed some default value. So, is there what could be, in your opinion, what could be the rationale for those default values? And if they are the default values, are they necessarily the best values? Then the question of that being a tuning parameter is lost. So it is a three-part question. What is the rationale for those default values? Are they the best? I mean, you can probably answer these two questions.
Okay, sure. So I would like to take your attention to yet another non-generative classifier, ensemble classifier, or ensemble technique rather, stacking. And here, what is the rationale behind choosing the default values? So as I've told you, there are a lot of people who are experimenting on the data. They are experimenting by using different algorithms. And they are trying out plethora of experiments by tweaking these hyperparameters, by giving these hyperparameters different options. And based on majority of the scientists or mathematicians or statisticians or economists, based on majority of their conclusion, people come up with a default value. Majority of them say that, hey, do you know what? Cross-validation of 5 always works well, or in majority of the scenarios, it works well. Then that option is included within the libraries. And when you look at scikit-learn, which is a machine learning library in Python, all these default values are decided based on that, based on the majority. And the second question is, are these going to work almost always? The answer is no. These default values, while they are going to work in majority of the scenarios, it is not guaranteed that in all these scenarios you get the best results. Given this context, anyone who is working on hyperparameters, like for example, let me take the attention of our audience to bagging. Within bagging, you have number of estimators. That is number of trees that you need to run. The default value is 10. What are the maximum number of samples that you need to take at each and every split? Okay, and then what are the minimum sample split? Then do you need to, do you want to apply bootstrap sampling? How many processes do you want to use? That is what number of jobs would say. Base estimator, which one do we want to use? Maximum features, so on and so forth. So, one has to experiment with all these hyperparameters by giving different options that one has. For example, number of estimators, experiment with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, so on and so forth. And figure out at which or with what hyperparameter settings you actually get the right fit model, okay, with the highest accuracy. This is what one has to focus upon. And given this context, I would also say that you have a lot of techniques such as grid search, cross-validation. Then you have random search, cross-validation. Okay, then we also have Bayesian search. Okay, you have Bayesian search, cross-validation. Then we have hyperopt, so on and so forth. There are multiple other techniques which are there, which will help you experiment with multiple options. And then out of all those multiple options, you can get the best hyperparameter settings. Using a specific function, you get those details also. For example, let me show you that as well, since I'm showing this. If you, for instance, run different options here. Let me go to. Yep, there we go. So, as part of cross validation, there are different options which are chosen. And then this parameter grid, there are a lot of parameters which are experimented, like number of estimators, maximum features, so on and so forth. For each and everything, you have given different options, or multiple options rather. And you experiment with all these hyperparameters. And then when you say, show me the best parameters, it would show you what are the best parameters. Okay. And also it would give you what is the best estimator. You can always save that and then use it for your future prediction. So the point here is very simple. All these hyperparameters are decided while the algorithm was being built as part of your research. And the default values are selected based on umpteen number of experiments which people have performed. And in majority of the cases, these default values have given the best results. But these need not work in all the settings. It need not give you the best results in all the settings. So it's always advisable to experiment with these hyperparameters. And while you experiment with these hyperparameters, you can use grid search, random search, Bayesian search, hyperopt, so on and so forth. Yeah, Nitin, over to you.
Thank you.